Hi, I'm Carolyn, and welcome to this week's Inner Freedom Practice. I'm so glad you're here. This week, we're exploring the parts of ourselves we sometimes learn to hide. Maybe you hide something you love, a preference, an opinion, something you're proud of, a sensitive, playful, creative, spiritual, or simply different part of you that you don't always feel comfortable letting other people see. Sometimes we may consciously choose not to share something about ourselves, and that can be a healthy choice. Not everyone needs to have access to every part of us, but other times we may notice that we're automatically hiding, softening, or downplaying something about ourselves because some part of us is worried about what might happen if we're more fully seen. So today, we're not going to push ourselves to be visible. We're not going to decide what we should share, that we should share more of ourselves. Instead, we're simply going to become curious about what happens inside of us when we imagine letting one small part of ourselves be seen. So let's just begin by getting present in the here and now, like we always do. And so, if it feels comfortable, you can gently close your eyes and place your feet firmly on the ground and allow yourself to settle into your chair, feeling your body supported by the chair beneath you. And let's just take a nice, slow, comfortable breath in, allowing the breath to wash in to the heart and out of the heart. Taking another breath in, maybe allowing the breath to expand just a little more in the heart, and allowing your exhale to wash out a little more slowly than the inhale. And one more breath, washing into the heart and washing out of the heart. And now gently bringing your awareness back into your body and into the physical space around you. So now that we're feeling a little more present, I'd like you to think of one relatively small part of yourself that you sometimes hold back around other people. Nothing that's really highly charged, nothing that feels absolutely overwhelming. We're just choosing something relatively mild so we can explore it together today. It might be something like an interest you don't talk about very often, something you enjoy, a preference you sometimes downplay, something you're proud of. Could just be a part of your personality that you don't always show. It might be something about you that feels a little vulnerable to let other people see. So, for example, one thing that's small about me is that I really don't like scary movies. And it's not that there's anything particularly profound about that, it's just something I really don't enjoy. But sometimes even these ordinary preferences can feel surprisingly vulnerable when we when they make us different from the people around us, or even just when we think they make us different. So just see what comes to mind for you and trust the first thing. If you need a little more time, you can always pause the video. So now that you have something, I invite you to imagine allowing another person to see or know this part of you. So maybe it's imagining sharing it to someone, or it could just be the thought of sharing and telling someone this. So just imagine being a little more open about it and notice what happens inside of you. Maybe it's a thought that appears, like they'll think I'm weird, or they won't understand me. They won't like this about me. I'll feel embarrassed. Or maybe you notice an emotion. It could be fear, nervousness, embarrassment, self consciousness. Perhaps you notice something in your body. It could be a tightness in your chest, a pit in your stomach, tension in your throat. So, just whatever comes up for you, just notice it. And as always, know that there's nothing to fix or change. We're simply becoming curious about what happens when you begin to imagine allowing this part of yourself to be seen. So just notice what feels most important to focus on right now and trust whatever comes to mind. So let's rate whatever you've chosen to focus on. And if it's an emotion or body sensation, rate the intensity from 0 to 10, where 0 is no intensity at all and 10 is extremely intense. Or if you're working on a thought, you can rate how true it feels on the 0 to 100% scale, where 0 means it doesn't feel true at all, and 100% means it feels completely true. So just trust the first number that comes to mind. So I would just say for me, thinking about telling someone I don't like scary movies, I just kind of get this tightness in my chest, and I would say that's about a 4. So now let's tap together, and as always, take what resonates and feel free to leave the rest. Also, you can adjust any words so that they fit your own experience and whatever is most true for you. So, even though when I imagine letting this part of me be seen, I notice this, and you can just fill in whatever came up for you. Maybe it's a thought, a feeling, something you're noticing in your body. Given everything I've experienced, it makes sense that this is here. And even though there's this part of me, and something comes up when I imagine letting other people see it, I have compassion for myself and how I feel. And even though part of me may want to be more fully seen, and another part of me may have reasons for holding back, I wonder if I can simply be curious about both. Good. And moving to the top of the head. When I imagine letting this part of me be seen, moving to the eyebrow point, I notice this and just fill in your thought, your feeling, or your body sensation. Good. Side of the eye. This. And repeat whatever it is you're working with, that thought, feeling, or sensation. Good. Under the eye. And right now, it feels about, and just fill in your number or percentage. Good. Under the nose, taking a deep breath in. Maybe part of me worries about what might happen. Under the mouth, if I let more of myself be seen. Ooh. Good. Moving to the collarbone. Maybe there's a reason this is here. Taking another nice deep breath in. Good. And moving to the under the arm. Maybe some part of me has learned that hiding helps keep me safe. Hmm. Good. And you can gently stop tapping. Take a nice deep breath in. Maybe have a sip of water if you have some nearby. And just bringing your attention back to whatever you were working with. So, if it was a body sensation or an emotion, just noticing that intensity from 0 to 10. Or if you were working with a thought, just noticing how true it feels on the 0 to 100% scale. And maybe you'll notice your number went down. It might have stayed the same, or maybe it even went up. So, whatever happened is okay. We're just simply noticing what's here. So, as I tune in for me, what I would say is that the pressure in my chest has maybe gone down to about a 3, but it's gone up into the back of my throat and it's about a 4 there. So, sometimes you'll notice it might move around. So, now that the throat's more intense, that's what I'm going to focus on when I'm doing our next round. So we'll just do one more gentle round together. So moving to the side of the hand, even though this is still here, and just filling in your remaining thought, feeling, or sensation. I have compassion for myself and how I feel. And even though part of me may want to be seen, and another part of me may feel safer staying hidden. I'm open to listening to both parts with compassion. And even though I don't have to show every part of myself to everyone, maybe I can begin by knowing and honoring this part of myself. Good. So moving to the top of the head. Part of me may want to be seen. Taking a nice deep breath in. Moving to the eyebrow point, and part of me may want to stay hidden. Good. Moving to the side of the eye. Maybe both parts have something to tell me. Good. Under the eye. I don't have to force either one away. Under the nose. I can choose what feels right to share. under the mouth, and still stay connected to myself. Collarbone point. Maybe I don't have to become someone different. Good. Under the arm. Maybe I can feel a little safer being who I already am. Even with this remaining emotion, thought, or sensation. Good. And you can gently stop tapping. Take a nice, comfortable breath in. You might have some yawns or other forms of releasing of the energy. That's just showing us that it's shifting. So just noticing how you're feeling now. And we'll just bring the original thing you were focusing on to mind again. Imagining that part of yourself being seen. And again, you don't actually have to share anything. We're simply noticing what might happen inside of you. So, bringing your attention to whatever it was that you were working with, it was if it was that emotion or body sensation, rating it on the 0 to 10 scale, and if it was a thought, rating it on the 0 to 100% scale. And just noticing what might have shifted. Maybe something new came up, maybe nothing changed at all. There's really no right or wrong response here. And if there's still more, you can always come back and tap again with whatever has emerged. So for me, I would say after that round of tapping, when I tune back into the scary movies, telling someone that, it's actually down to a 1 in my throat. And in the chest, I would say it's about a 1 as well. So, just sharing my experience in case that's helpful for you. So, as we come to the close of this video, there's just one other thing I'd like to mention. And that is that sometimes when we become curious about a present day reaction like this, an earlier experience may come to mind. So maybe you remember a time when you were teased or something for something that you liked um, when you were a kid, or maybe you felt left out when someone didn't understand you, or when you felt like you were different and it made you feel uncomfortable. So, for example, when I think about not liking scary movies, I can connect with experiences from my childhood. My parents were very strict about which movies I was allowed to watch, and other kids were watching movies I wasn't allowed to see. And I remember times when that really made me feel left out and different and uncool. And there are some specific memories from that time that I could explore with tapping, and that would help continue to release. So sometimes those earlier experiences can really help us understand why something that seems relatively small in the present day carries more emotion than we might expect. Um, and you don't need to go looking for a memory. If there's one that came up today, you don't need to work on it right now. You can simply notice it. This is a process, so there's no rush. And if you'd like support exploring some of those earlier experiences more deeply, That's definitely something you can tap on yourself, or I would love to support you and gently work together on that in an EFT session. So, one thing I've really been thinking a lot about this week is that being ourselves doesn't mean showing every part of ourselves to every person. There's room for discernment, and there's room to decide what feels right to share and where and with whom. Um, Perhaps there's a difference, though, between consciously choosing not to share something and really believing that we have to hide it because there's something wrong with who we are. So maybe authenticity begins somewhere quieter with knowing and honoring who we are, even when we choose not to show every part of ourselves. And then just learning little by little to stay connected with our own center in the presence of other people. So, as you move through the week, I invite you to simply notice. Notice the little moments where you edit yourself, when you downplay something you love, when you hide your excitement or your sadness, when you wonder whether a part of you will be understood. Not to make yourself behave differently and not to judge yourself for holding back, but just simply to become curious and notice, what is this part of me afraid might happen? And what might help to make this part feel a little safer being me. So perhaps becoming more authentic isn't about getting rid of the part of us that wants to hide. Maybe it's about helping that part discover that little by little, it doesn't always have to hide anymore. So, thank you for sharing this time with me. And until next time, I'm wishing you a little more inner freedom. Thank you.